Hello. Happy New Year. How are you guys doing? Well, it's Happy New Year's Eve if you're watching this. It is exactly 1 a.m. going into, it's 1 a.m. on New Year's Eve. And we are the house of sickness today. I have had the sniffles all day today. I feel like one day I feel like I'm getting a cold and the next day I don't. And my nose has just been like, I've been sniffling. And then Alex, his stomach has been killing him all day today. And so he's just been laying around in bed, and he went to bed really early tonight. Like fell asleep, went to bed early. And I actually just took him a bottle of water upstairs before I left. And I have been cabin fevered out today. So I'm gonna do this vlog, and then I'm gonna listen to a little bit of my audiobook on the way home, because I'm gonna go to the casino tonight. I'm in the casino, and I wanna go to the casino tonight. It's Sunday, and it's the night before New Year's Eve, so it'll probably be a little dead. And yeah, that's my life tonight. PP has been coughing a lot today, which always worries me. We haven't doubled up his medicine in quite some time. The vet had told us that if he has a day where he coughs a lot, the next day to give him a half, not double the dose, but give him a half of, because we give him a whole Lasix twice a day, to give him a half of the Lasix plus his regular Lasix in the morning. And that usually seems to help the cough. So we're going to do that tomorrow morning, because he's just, the poor little guy has been just coughing like crazy today. So yeah, it's been the house of sickness. And it's not been really fun. We got up today and we went to brunch, and been a good brunch, but we were kind of in a rush. We were getting there we got there a half an hour before they close, and we hate doing that. And they're so nice because they know us, because we come in there every week. So, I mean, we literally walk in and Alex's chili and cheese is on the table. It's, oh, and then we ran into these two women that we're friends with, and so we sat right next to them and we talked to them the whole time, and that was fun. And then we left, and I dropped Alex off, and I went to Meijer to return this beard trimmer of mine. So, well, I attempted to. If you haven't seen my rant video, that's what my rant video is about. And then I came home and I did my live stream for David Sedaris's Holidays on Ice, which was absolutely hilarious. I haven't read anything by David Sedaris before. And a friend of mine, back in the day, this is a friend of mine that actually went back out and started drinking again, and then he moved states, and I don't even talk to him anymore. It's so sad. He was such a dear friend of mine, and I think he was just real embarrassed, and so he moved out of state, and nobody that was friends with him before has heard, from him. And I'm still friends with him on Facebook, but he doesn't post anything ever on Facebook. But anyway, he used to play these David Sedaris clips for me on YouTube, so I know they're on YouTube where you can listen to David Sedaris read his own stories. He is hilarious. I mean, just as very dry. His humor is offensive at times, but just very dry, and he's a storyteller like me. So, I mean, we were listening to it on the way home from brunch today, and I just was busting out laughing, and because I had to get it done before the live stream today, and I had 20 minutes left, and I looked over, and Alex was just chuckling to himself too. He thought it was hilarious. So yeah, I'm gonna try some in 2019. I'm gonna try some more David Sedaris books. Listen, I am already started on my first book for 2019. I'm listening to this I think it's a young adult book, I'm not sure, but it's called Sadie. And a lot of people recommended it to me. Some people told me they loved it. Other people told me they hated it. I started listening to it. The Audible version is like a play. They have police dispatch that are different. It's all different characters, and done by different people, and it's really fantastically done. So I'm so into it, which is kind of why I want to listen to that a little bit tonight and not vlog forever. I wanted today to be a really long vlog, but since so many of you commented on this yesterday where I said this isn't going to be a very long vlog, and then it ended up being an hour and 20 minutes, so this probably won't be a super long vlog tonight, since last night was. We'll just have to see. We'll have to see. I wish I would have brought some Kleenex with me. But anyway, so then I came back and I did my live stream. That was really fun. And then I called Mel. She's the other book club. I gave it over to her now. No, I didn't really, but she's the president now of the book club. But anyway, so we were talking about all the books we're going to read in 2019. We were starting to try to kind of pick some of them because we're doing a year of true crime, which I'm so excited about. And that was a big part of the conversation today in the live stream, was what books we're going to read in 2019. People were giving suggestions. And then I went to Barnes & Noble tonight because Half Price Books was already closed by the time this was like 8 o'clock. So I went to Barnes & Noble and I looked through their true crime section. There were a lot of books that were really good, or look really good, that were really good. There were a lot of books that looked really good for true crime. Mel really wants to read something about the Black Dahlia, so we're going to do that. And then she wants to read something about Bonnie and Clyde, so we're probably going to try to fit that in there. We're going to do The Son of Sam this summer, as well as The Zodiac Killer. And there's several really good books about that. And then we're going to do the book Columbine. I think it's by Brian Cullen. It's a huge book, and I've heard it's just fantastically written. We're going to read that in April, which is also the anniversary of Columbine. We're also going to be we decided today on the book club, if you want to join the book club, you don't have to be in the live streams, you don't have to do anything. You can just be part of the thread if you want on Goodreads. But we decided that we are going to start a thread for each book that has a list of resources. So people can come over there and they can post like articles that so like if we're reading about, like we're going to do like the Green River Killer, we're going to read something about the Green River Killer. So if we're doing that, then there will be like, articles over there. Or like, let's take I'll Be Gone in the Dark, about the Golden State Killer. If we're reading that, then there would be a tab, a thread just for resources where you could put like my favorite murder, interview with Paul Holes, or this article that you found, or the Audible, Evil Has a Name, where there'll be a list of things. Because this is the thing, is once you start reading that stuff and you become kind of like obsessed a little bit with it, it's like you want to read everything and hear everything that everybody has to say about that one specific thing, if that makes sense. I'm real intrigued with true crime. So yeah, we got some books that we're going to read that are going to be really fun. We want to do something about the mob, read a book about the mob. We don't want it to be all just like serial killer books. I mean, I could honestly read a year of serial killer books. I really could. But to make it like interesting, and so we want to be able to walk away from it saying that we've like done, we've like read like the mainstays and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's like there are some books that we like kind of don't want to read. Like to do it justice, we really should read Truman Capote's In Cold Blood, because it was really the first of its kind. I've read parts of it before. It is very dry and it is boring, honestly. The murder parts are absolutely harrowing in it. And the movie, I've seen the movie, but it's been years and years and years ago. It's in black and white. So I don't know. We may do that. We may mix some stuff up. We may do like a movie night. Like if you can find the movie like online somewhere, and like all of us watch it like on one night or something. Or over a weekend and then discuss it. We'll just have to see. The other true crime kind of, when you look at the canon of books that make up books that you should read for true crime, the other one is Helter Skelter. And Mel read it this summer. So many people in the book club have already read it. I've attempted to read it on several occasions. It is so long. It's like 800 pages, and the pages are like so fine print, and it's just, I don't know that I'll ever get through that. And honestly, now that he's gone, like, I don't have that much of an interest in him. Part of the thing for me is, and this is, I don't know why, but like, in reading about these killers, part of what's interesting to me is when they haven't been caught. Like, if you're reading about somebody that hasn't been caught, that's part of what's interesting to me about it. And kind of like knowing that they're still out there or whatever. Now I feel like, I don't know. When I was at Barnes & Noble tonight, I saw this book that was written by one of the women that was in Charles Manson's cult, and I thought that would be actually really interesting, you know? But then that's more of like, I mean, if Helter Skelter's out there, we need to read Helter Skelter and not that, but I don't know that I can read Helter Skelter, you know? I've wanted to read it for so long. It's been on my to-be-read list every summer for like the last 3 years that I've been on BookTube, and I've just never read it. So I've heard really mixed things about it too. Like, I've heard people love it, and I've heard other people that they just can't stand it. Mel didn't act like she loved it. Tanya back in the day said that she read it when she was like in high school, and she would read it under the covers with a flashlight, and that it absolutely terrified her. You know, my friend Teresa's read it. She loved it. She said she would read it again. There's just so many people that have given me different kind of opinions about what they think about Helter Skelter. So, you know, it's just interesting. You have to be... I guess it depends kind of on when you read it too, you know? Like, I would definitely say, having gone into Helter Skelter, starting it, I got like 50 pages in or something like that, and I just stopped because it just was like dragging and dragging and dragging. But it's definitely a summer book. I mean, I will say that. Like, if you're gonna read it and get scared, it's definitely a summer book. Like, that's kind of the same way with like I'll Be Gone in the Dark, and I know like the Son of Sam book and those books. I mean, those were like summer killers, or killers that were like out in the summer. And I think Son of Sam is the one that takes place in New York City with like when they had the blackouts from the heat. There was actually a movie with John Leguizamo. Is that his name? Leguizamo? I was talking about this on here not too long ago, and I couldn't remember what his name was. But anyway, I want to watch the movie after I read the book. So anyway, yeah, we're real excited about that. That's one of my huge goals going into. I looked on my reading goals. I looked on my 2018 reading challenge on Goodreads, and I had listed it at 101 books was what my goal was for 2018, and I ended up reading, I think it comes to 47 as of right now, but I think there's a book that I left out reviewing that I have to put in there, so it'll be 48 total. So 47, 48 books is almost a book a week this year that I read. Next year, I'm going to list my goal again, not at 101, I'm going to list it at 100. And that is less than a book a week, or that is less than 2 books a week. And then I'm going to be always reading a physical book and listening to an audiobook. That's my goal for 2018 every week. And if I do that, then I will keep up with it, and we'll see. The thing is, for me, is not getting behind on it. And there are so many books that I want to read. There's so many books in 2018 that I want to read. I'm really excited. And I just downloaded a bunch of Audible books like I talked about on here. And I have a bunch of books at home that I want to read that I haven't read. So I'm excited about it. I think it's doable. I have to honestly say, of all of the goals, like all of the like frivolous kind of goals for 2018, you know, like little things. I mean, it's not a little thing, but like, it's not like a, you know, get in the body of my dreams kind of goal. Of all of my goals for 2019, I would say that is like one of them at the top that I really, really want to accomplish. Like, just once I want to read 100 books in a year. Like, that's just my goal. I kind of wonder if I've done it before, like when I wasn't counting my books, like before Goodreads and stuff like that, but I don't know. So anyway, yeah, there's that. And since it's New Year's Eve tonight, while you're watching this, or today, I thought that I would do a year in review. By the way, I just want to say this, okay, because I've shouted them out on this channel before. Bay Nation, who used to be Bitchin' and Eatin', Bunny and Kay. I love these girls. They are so sweet. They are doing a 24-hour live stream. Oh my God! Okay, on YouTube, or if you go to their channel on YouTube, it's Bay Nation, B-A-E Nation. If I remember, I will link it below, but I have a feeling I will never remember because this is the beginning of the vlog. But I will be in and out watching that tomorrow. Whenever I have a chance to be on it, I'm going to be on it. But you should go check them out, definitely. They're very, very sweet. They did the same thing a year ago. So, do I have any coffee left in this? Oh, I have a little bit of coffee left. When we were at brunch today, and I was leaving, our waiter, he brought this cup. He's like so nice. And so he's real funny too. And he's like, we've become really good friends with him. And so he is like, he's got really long hair, and he's like Latino, and he's going to hair school. And like every woman that comes in this place is like in love with him, right? And he's done like every person's hair that like works there, all the women, and he is supposedly like really great at hair. And our friends were talking to him, they're like, oh my god, we got to get your number, because he's like getting ready to like graduate from hair school and stuff. He is so sweet and so great with hair. Like, this guy is like incredible with hair, right? So we were, which has nothing to do with my story, but we were leaving, and so he brought my cup. We always like joke with him. So I went up there, and they only had decaf left, and I was like, and he was talking to Alex, but they were speaking in Spanish, and I was like, there's no coffee. He goes, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And he was like, hold on a second. He goes, I'm gonna make you an espresso. And I go, oh, no, I've already had a cup and a half of coffee. I don't need an espresso. He goes, I mean, I'll make you a latte. I will make you the best latte you have ever had in your entire life. And I go, well, I'm not really a latte fan. He goes, oh, slit. Hold on a second. So, then Alex goes, he goes, well, I like lattes. And he goes, I'm going to make you a latte. I'm going to make you an espresso. And I go, okay, well, if you make me an espresso, I can pour it into the decaf, and then it'll be kind of like half and half. And he looks at Alex, and he goes, so you want a latte? And Alex goes, yeah, I would love a latte. And he goes, a peppermint mocha latte? And I about lost it because I had done that video the other day about the peppermint mocha. Is that not so funny? So anyway, he's so sweet, though. But, so yeah, he made me, this is like decaf, and then it had like an espresso in it. I love really strong coffee, but like espresso, I can't drink tons and tons of it. Although, I think I've told this story on here a couple years ago. I think I told this story on here that a couple years ago when we were in Miami. So, these two girls that Alex went to high school with, they're Colombian. They live here now. One of them lives in Indianapolis, and the other one lives in, her sister lives in Miami. So, we always have dinner with her when we go down there, her sister. Because Alex like grew up with these girls. Like, all of the kids running around like in the house and stuff now is like how Alex and his friends were like when they were growing up. And I'm like, because I say to him, I'm like, was it the same for you? Like, did you guys like run around and dance to the music while the adults were like drinking and dancing and stuff? He goes, oh, absolutely. Like, this is exactly how it was for us, and this is how we became friends and stuff. So anyway, has she ever been on one of my videos? I don't think so. This is like one of Alex's like dearest friends. I love her so much. So anyway, so we went and had dinner with her sister and her sister's husband in Miami. I think they maybe are from Fort Lauderdale. But anyway, so her husband and I were not drinking, and because he had to drive home. But she and Alex were like drinking. I think he might have been drinking a little bit, but like he wasn't drinking, anything heavy. So in Miami, like they'll do these like, these big huge drinks like on Ocean Drive, and you can get like unlimited drinks for like, but it's for like $25, right? But it's like this, literally like this fishbowl of like a drink. It's ridiculous, okay? Well, when you sit there for 6 or 7 hours and you talk like Alex and his friends and family do, you could probably put down a few of these, okay? So anyway, so the waiter that was there felt so bad for me because I wasn't drinking, right? Oh, I think like her husband was just drinking like a beer, and he like had this beer forever because the waiter kept on saying something about that, I think. Like, do you want me to refresh? Like, he would refresh the drink, but he wouldn't like bring him a fresh beer because that would like he had to pay for the beer. Does that make sense? That kind of stuff to me is so silly. So anyway, so we were sitting there, and the waiter felt so bad for me. So he kept on bringing me like espressos, like one espresso after another after another. Was I vlogging at the time that this happened? I may have vlogged this afterwards. So anyway, we went back to the hotel room because Alex was like, you need to be careful drinking all those espressos. I was like, I'm totally fine. Don't worry about me. I'll be completely fine, right? He was like, I'm telling you, you need to be worried because you're going to be up all night long and your heart's going to be racing, and I know you're going to freak out. I was like, I'm fine. I'm sitting here and I'm sipping my little espressos, whatever, having a little cigarette after dinner and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just thinking, that I'm like I'm like Ocean Drive, okay? I am Ocean Drive at that point, right? Having my little espresso and all this kind of stuff. And we were like one restaurant down from Mango, so we could like hear all the music and stuff. It was fantastic. Well, we got back to the hotel room, and I thought I was gonna be able to fall right asleep. Oh no, ma'am. I was up till the good part of the morning, and my heart was just like racing. And I was like, Alex, I can't sleep. Alex, I can't sleep. People think I drink a lot of coffee, but the thing is that I'm so ADHD that when I drink a coffee sometimes, like, it puts me to sleep, honestly. The times that people comment on my videos and they're like, oh my god, you've had so much caffeine or you're on a sugar high, is literally when I've had nothing at all. Like, that's true story. if you know anything about like people that have ADHD or severe ADHD, the reason that they're put on stimulants is because it balances all that out, right? So somebody that's like super hyperactive, if you give them, which we don't use that word anymore, but let's just say, you know, like me, if somebody like me, you give me a lot of caffeine, it settles me down, right? Which is why back in the day when I was using, I loved cocaine because it made me feel like I was very much in control. I didn't feel jittery. I felt in control. And, there are times today that I can like drink a cup of coffee and like fall asleep really quick, but that was not one of them. But like I usually do not, like I might like get a cup of coffee from Starbucks, you know, when I get my day started, and then like later at night, I need to turn around and go back the other way. And then later at night, like when I'm vlogging, I might make a cup of coffee if I go out or something like that. But very, very rare. I want to just stay where I want it to be. But very, very rarely, because it's a crack in a windshield, or it's a crack in a dashboard is what it is, Peter. It's not a mount for your camera. Be thankful that it actually works. But you know, like, I don't really drink that much coffee in a day. Like that, I get a venti iced coffee from Starbucks and it literally lasts me like the whole day. Like I'll get it sometimes at like noon, and then like at midnight, you'll see me on here drinking it. Like it's still in here, you know? So I really don't drink that much caffeine. The other night, like I made a cup of coffee for my live stream, and I'd had a cup of coffee earlier and was kind of real close to that though, and I did feel kind of nervy. Like I'm kind of real sensitive to all that stuff. So anyway, so I was gonna do like a year in review on here tonight, being that it is New Year's Eve. Should old acquaintance be forgot? Oh my God, I made this little video up. Well, I'm gonna put it on my Facebook tomorrow of me singing Old Lang Syne, so you can go check it out. It's on my Facebook page. But I'm like turning so slow because every time I turn, the camera slides. I don't know, you know, like it was interesting. I did this meditation on my vlog, or on my Peterisms channel today. I literally, as I was leaving, I just realized that I forgot to post it today. It's like a 5-minute video, so I might do 2 Peterisms videos tomorrow. We'll have to see. But it was the last meditation of 2000, and it was like the last meditation of the year for the Melody Beatty, The Language of Letting Go meditation book. And it was about like affirming the good. And it was talking about, I loved this meditation. And it was about like, you know, you've gone through tough times, you've gone through this heartache and all this kind of stuff, and it's all preparing you for the good that's to come. And, you know, I'm such a believer in that. I really, really am. Like, you know, that everything that you're going through is preparing you for something later. And I don't mean like the afterlife and things like that. I mean, like preparing you for the next transition of your life. I really, really believe that. And the reason that I believe it is because at times previously in my life when, you know, I was going through like really hard stuff, I didn't realize like at the time that I was going through hard stuff that it was preparing me for something better. But then when I was in a better space and I would look back and I'd be like, oh my God, like I didn't even realize at the time that this was the lesson that I was learning from this. Like this was the valuable lesson. And when you do inventory a lot in your life, you know, you're constantly inventorying and evaluating your life. It's hard to miss that stuff down the road. You see how it played out, right? And I think that we live in an evidence-based society. I think we live in a society where all of us need, you know, oh, it's gonna stop. Hold on a second. It did in fact stop. But I think we live in an evidence-based society now. What I mean by that is, you know, we live in a society where it's gonna probably tip over. I'm trying to slowly break. Okay. But we live in an evidence-based society, a fact-based society now where like it's just not good enough to say there are lessons that you will learn from this, or, you know, this or that or whatever, right? Like this will play out down the road, you know, this is all happening for a reason. Like we want to know what the reason is. We want to know what the lesson is. Well, if you look at your life and you look at the way that, like, you know, I've said this before, that I believe that there's like this thread that weaves through life. And when you look at it and the people that you've met and the things that have happened to you, they all kind of build on top of each other. They really, really do. But sometimes it takes years and years to go by before you reflect back and you look on all of the things that have happened in your life, you know? And it's crazy how that is. And I look at my life like, you know, all the things that have happened in my life and like where it started and like how one led to the next, led to the next, led to the next, led me to where I'm at today, vlogging in this car, honestly, you know? And I think it's pretty cool that the world works that way. And I don't know. So for me, I feel like in affirming the good, you know, or being focused on the good is also about appreciating the tough times that you went through. You know, it's kind of like training for the Olympics, so to speak, like conditioning and all of the tough work, but then you like get the silver or the gold coin, you know, or silver or gold, the medal, right? Coin, I said. Yeah, it's like this thing. Silver or gold medal, you know? And that's because you've worked hard, you've gone through some tough things, you've learned some things, you know. Well, the gold medal is the lesson on the other side of that. It just, that's what it is, you know. And it isn't always a new car or, you know, a new home or, you know, sometimes it's just a lesson. And I think we have to remember that, you know. I like try to remind myself that all the time. And, you know, what somebody else's gold medal is completely different than what my gold medal is, in all honesty. I also think there's, you know, that if we were to be really, really fair and we were to look at the, like, if we just took a year and isolated it and we really evaluated it, inventoried it, and we looked at all of the great things that happened in that year, and then we looked at all the shitty things that happened, okay? And I'm not talking about just like the huge good things, okay, or the huge shitty things. I'm talking about all of it. I'm talking about, you know, like everything from getting a 50-cent raise at work to, you know, like, I don't know, making a new friend, because those are sometimes things that we forget, right? You know, that we don't mention those things and like what a great year it's been. I mean, these things that seem smaller but are really bigger in the grand scheme of things, right? Because we sure don't let ourselves forget when it's the big stuff that is troublesome, right? So you have to do a fair evaluation. You have to do a fair inventory of the good and the bad, you know? And then I think for me, like whenever I look at my life in retrospect, it's always kind of like, well, it all kind of balances out in the end. It really, really does, you know? And there are moments of glory and there are moments of failure, you know? And I think in between those two moments, there's a lot of other moments. You know, it's like one's up here and one's down here. Well, there's a lot of in between. And, you know, there's moments of tragedy and there's moments of, you know, absolute bliss. And between those moments, there's a lot of things that happen, you know. But I have to remember that, and I have to, you know, be fair to myself that, you know, life isn't just about, these tough times that I've been through. You know, like, it's not fair to do that. And so when I was reading that today, I was like, you know, and I also, it's called Manifest Your Destiny, or Manifest Your Destiny in the New Year. And I think that's what I titled it. And even though the meditation isn't necessarily about that, but I really do believe that, you know. I had a friend of mine say this to me the other day. And, you know, she was talking about manifesting your destiny, which is something that I very, very much believe in. And anybody in my personal life knows that. And it's, you know, the law of attraction and the secret and all that kind of stuff. But I don't believe that you just sit on your butt and dream of, you know, driving a fancy car and then that all of a sudden the fancy car just comes to you. I don't believe that. I think there's a lot of action you have to put to that, you know. Whatever it is, you know, and like when you read the book The Secret by Rhonda Byrne and then you study the law of attraction a little bit, what it is that we attract those things that we want in our lives, but those things that we really believe we want. We really have to visualize ourselves having it. We really have to believe that it's meant to be in our life, that we're worthy of that. And then we also have to put action to it. Action's a huge part of it, you know? You can't just sit back and go, well, I'd like this new car, bring it to me. And I think that's a lot. Thank you, I appreciate it. I think that's a lot where resentment comes up in people's lives because they really like expect that the world should be just as fair to us as it is to Sally Joe, you know? Well, Sally Joe got a Porsche, why didn't I get a Porsche? You know, I've been practicing the law of attraction, I want a Porsche too. Well, Sally Joe's been at work at 5 o'clock every morning for the last 6 months. You know, have you? Well, no. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I think it's fair. And then we have to be fair. Then the other thing is that there are sometimes Sally Joe hasn't done shit, and we've worked 10 times harder than her, right? And we still don't get the rewards that Sally Joe does. And that's really hard in life, right? Is to see people that we don't necessarily feel like they deserve it succeeding. But you know what? My journey's different than theirs. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be in my life. I have to remember those things, you know? And I'm always going to lose by comparison. Like, my journey is not theirs. I don't know what goes on in their life. I don't know what goes on, you know, behind closed doors in their journey. I don't know, you know, what they're doing to be successful or why they deserve it. And I think that, you know, like, this is going to sound so crazy, but like one of the things that really, really took... I'm not a super jealous person by nature anyway. I'm just not, you know, like because I think I've realized that, you know, I've lost some friendships in my life years ago, okay? I do think jealousy, I do think it's something that kind of goes away a little bit as you get older, because you just realize it, to be honest, it's pointless. Like, it's jealousy is just kind of like this emotion or this feeling that absolutely has no play out in your life whatsoever. It is absolutely non-effective in your life whatsoever. And the sooner you kind of figure that out, the better, if that makes sense. You know, it's like, people are always like, it was funny because we got this question a lot on our Q&A about jealousy. Like, Alex and I, like, do you guys ever get jealous? Or do you get jealous of, you know, Alex getting hit on? Well, I get, you know, there have been moments that I get hit on too. It's interesting because I get hit on by women. I don't, until I start talking and moving, and then they're like, oh, she's gonna be my best friend. That's how they always, you know. But, but, you know, back in the day, we both, like, neither one of us really get hit on that much anymore. And we both did back in the day. I mean, he does sometimes, and I do. It just kind of depends on where we're at, you know, and, so, yeah, there's that. But, what was I going to say? Like, jealousy, I don't really, like, that's not an emotion that I relate to a whole lot anymore, because I just feel like it's kind of this pointless, I don't get anything out of it. Like, it's not an emotion that I get really anything out of, if that makes sense. And I think once I've said if that makes sense like 10 times, I apologize. And when you realize that, it's kind of like, well, what's the point? Like, why am I doing this? Do you know what I mean? And so, I don't do it anymore. And I catch myself very quickly. But I think it's almost easier, like, it's easy to assume that I would be, like, of Alex or somebody else or whatever, but, like, that's not, like, one of my close friends. I'm almost kind of more envious of people that, like, I really have nothing to do with. Do you know what I mean? Like, people that are so out, like, you know, like, celebrities or whatever, you know, it's like, okay, well, I'm the same age as them, you know, like... They won an Oscar. I didn't win an Oscar. You know what I mean? You always get to a point where, like, your envy and jealousy is ridiculous. And then you realize it's ridiculous. And then you're like, okay, this is stupid. Everybody gets what they deserve. That's really it. You know? Everybody is where they're supposed to be. And I really think, oh, this is what I was going to say that really changed my whole attitude about all of it a couple years ago. I already wasn't really, like, that jealous of a person anyway. I guess I never really have been. I mean, I don't want somebody, you know, just all over, you know, like my man or whatever like that. But at the same time, like, there's a certain amount of it that's flattering, you know, where somebody's like, oh, you know, you're very attractive. As long as Alex is, like, you know, respectful, or as long as I'm respectful and, like, hey, we're married, you know, whatever, then I think that the jealousy thing never has to be an issue. I was talking about this on here with my brother-in-law, Fufu, because, like, he's somebody that, like, gets jealous pretty quick. Anyway, so when I read the book Wonder by R.J. Palacio, at the end of it, well, August, who's the little boy, Augie, if you've never read the book, you need to read the book. And you need to read the book before you see the movie. I still haven't seen the movie, but you need to read the book, okay? His quote in it, like, the teacher has them all come up with, like, a motto. And his motto is, and I'm not going to get it correctly, but that everybody deserves a standing ovation at least once in their life. And, you know, I really, really believe that. And even for people that don't like me, and even for people that have issues with me, I still believe they deserve a standing ovation once in their life. I feel like, you know, it's not about that. It's like everybody deserves to feel special. Everybody deserves to have somebody in their corner, you know. And then the thing is, as you get older, you realize, like, okay, like, I had an alcoholic as a mother, but I didn't have a mother that was an alcoholic like this person whose stories I've heard, you know, and it could have been so much worse, you know, and I'm so thankful that I had the mother that I did. Or my mother got sober, or I had such a great dad that was calling me every day and came and was so involved in my life, you know what I mean? Or, you know, it's always like, we want to compare ourselves to other people sometimes that have it better than us to kind of feel sorry for ourselves, when in reality we really should be comparing ourselves to people that have it like not as good as us, because it's a more fair representation then, you know, if you pull a little bit up here and a little bit from down here. I don't know. So anyway, but I think like in looking at that went way off course because I was going to talk about the year in review, but when you talk about like my year in review, it's been a mixed bag, you know. There's been good things that have happened, there's been, you know, bad things that have happened. You know, like I was thinking about this earlier, and I was thinking about like when I was doing my meditation on my Peterson's channel, I was thinking about losing my uncle this year, you know, and I'm really sad that my uncle passed away. My uncle was in a lot of pain. He wasn't really enjoying his quality of life anymore. You know, he had been a long-term heart patient for, you know, 23 plus years, because he had his heart attack right before my mom got sober. That was his very first heart surgery, and that was like right before she got sober, June 2nd, so right before that. Okay, I'll be right back. I gotta go to the bank. Okay, I'm back. When I was going through the bank, I was actually thinking to myself, I still don't really understand this heat in here. It's either like kind of really warm or not, but that my plan had been that I was going to make this like super long vlog today, right? Like a 2 or 3 hour vlog, like the longest one I've done this year. And and there were 2 reasons why. I'll explain in a second. But I was thinking about, so like I was talking to Rich Lux, and somebody actually said in my vlog, they were like, I'm so glad that you and Rich Lux are friends again. Like, Rich and I haven't had a falling out. Like, it's been a long time since, I mean, we've been friends consistently for a long time now. So anyway, but we were talking, and he was like, girl, make a 3 hour vlog. And I'm like, no, Rich, I'm not going to make a 3 hour vlog. He's like, girl, just make a 3 hour vlog. Just make a 3 hour vlog. He always says that. So, but I was actually thinking about making a super, I mean, I know they're really long. I mean, I think my vlogs are longer than any vlogger, like, on YouTube, probably. But I was thinking about doing that, and, you know, I know as soon as I do, somebody will be like, well, the reason that he's doing longer vlogs is so that he could put more ads in there. Like, that doesn't make me really any more money, just so you know, okay? Maybe it'll buy me a Chinese buffet, but not the actual buffet, but like just one meal. It's interesting, all this ad talk, you know, because like I was going over to Daniel Prada, Joey Graceffa's boyfriend's channel today, and I was like looking at his channel, and this is what's interesting to me. I have to tell you about Daniel Prada, and this is a conspiracy on YouTube, right? And I like Daniel Prada and Joey Graceffa. I think they seem like a nice couple and stuff, but Daniel just started his channel. I went and looked, and his first video was posted in November, okay? Well, you have to hit 1,000, like, and if you're a smaller creator, you know this, because this is a big deal for smaller creators that can't get monetized on YouTube. I was watching one of his videos, and I noticed that he's already monetized, and I was like, he just literally just started his channel. I think it was like November 20th, but I could be wrong. It could be before that, but I'm almost positive it was November 20th, right? So you have to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch time hours, okay, to be eligible to have YouTube look at your channel. And then it can take anywhere from like a month to like 6 months for them to actually approve it. And I know this to be true because I'm talking to my YouTube manager, and she's like, it takes a long time, you know, it could be like, you know, whatever. And so I thought it was very, very interesting that Daniel's channel got like monetized quickly, like very quickly. But when I was going in and I was looking at his videos, he has like 12-minute videos with like 4 to 6 ads in it. And I was like, you know, it's interesting who, like, people, if they don't like you, will comment on that when they will overlook it with somebody else that literally puts like 10 and 15 ads in it. But I don't really care. I have been consistent with how I do my ads on here. I've always said that. I put my first ad at 5 minutes, and every other ad I put at 10-minute intervals. That's what I've done since I started this vlog. That's what I will continue to do. So if you don't like it, get ad blocker, I guess. But I'm going to continue to do that. For those of you that are kind enough to sit there and play the ads, I appreciate it. Okay, even the Ty Lopez 5-minute ads don't feel like you need to do that. So anyway, and I honestly, people are like, well, how much more do you get paid for the, I have no clue how all that works. I have no clue how any of that works. But anyway, so like, I was going to make this really long vlog, but I was like, I know that all these people will say, oh, he's just making a 3-hour vlog for that. But number one, the reality was that there have been several people that had contacted me and said, like, in all sincerity, like, I have nothing to do for New Year's. Would you please make a longer vlog? Because I really enjoy watching your vlogs, and then I could, do that and, watch the ball drop, and I don't have anybody to spend New Year's with. And I thought, you know what, like, I can do that. I can do, like, a longer vlog for, these people. But it didn't happen today. So I apologize to those of you out there. I'm going to try to make this as long as possible, but, and then, the other reason I was going to do it was just to drive my haters crazy that absolutely are like, oh my God, a 3-hour vlog? Yep, a 3-hour vlog. Cheers to the New Year's. But anyway, it all cracks me up so much. So I'm not going to do a 3-hour vlog. I don't know that tonight, I was just going to say, I don't know that I have that much to say, but y'all know I always have something to say. I could literally probably do a 6-hour vlog. I was thinking about that actually with like Bay Nation. I was like, what do you do for a 24-hour vlog or 24-hour live stream? The first time I ever saw somebody do that was when Shannon Rose, back in the day, a lot of people that did live streams did it. And the first time I ever saw it was when Shannon Rose and her husband did a 24-hour live stream. I have this heat off and it is still like really hot in here. How do you turn it off completely? I have it on off. But they were like in onesies and they did like a 24-hour live stream. They're kind of fun. People have asked me to do them in the past, but I'm like, have you ever gone to a 24-hour live stream and somebody's asleep? Like literally asleep on the live stream. There used to be this, when you go on YouNow, because there's different hashtags, there was one called Sleeping Squad, and people would like just live stream themselves like sleeping, and literally people would be having conversations while they were asleep, like in the thread, like the comment thread. It cracked me up. I don't know. I think it'd be kind of fun just once to do a 24-hour live stream. You think I should do that? I should do that sometime, shouldn't I? I'll do a 24-hour live stream, but I don't know when. I don't know how. How will I do that? But anyway, in looking back at the last year, there's like, especially like with my uncle, I would say like that was like the worst thing that happened in 2018, And not just because of my uncle passing away, but very much because of the end of an era, and all of that. And, and I think also, I don't know, like the whole thing with my dad and my uncle. So this was my mom's brother, this was my mom's sister's husband, and he was the last, like, one of, like, the adults from my mom's side of the family that was still alive. So now it's just my cousin and I and her family, but, and then Alex, obviously, on my side, but, it was really tough because it was like, now nobody knows like my childhood except for Caroline, my cousin, and stuff. But at the same time, like at the end of the year, the tail end of the year, Thanksgiving and Christmas, it's really allowed Caroline and I to get really close and kind of to develop some new traditions. Christmas was fantastic. Tanya was asking me the other night, she was like, so was Alex's family like your favorite part of Christmas this year? And I said, well, I always have fun at Alex's family's, it's always fun to like, everybody's dancing and playing loud music, and I love that, right? But at the same time, being at Caroline's, and just like there was this moment when we were all just kind of like sitting in the living room, and Caroline was doing dishes, and we were like, she was like in the kitchen, which is like their kitchen living room is kind of attached, and she was doing dishes, and we were all watching A Deal or No Deal and shouting at the TV and stuff. And, you know, like, Caroline looked in and she said, this just makes me so happy. And it was like, I think that moment of just like the fire going in the fireplace and, you know, having a piece of chocolate cake and, you know, it just, and drinking a cup of coffee and everybody just sitting there. And it was like, it was really just a nice moment. And I think that was honestly like my favorite moment from Christmas. You know, it was nothing special. It was just, that moment just made me so happy. You know, and when I look back on 2018, yeah, there's been a lot of shitty stuff that's happened in my life. There's also been, like, such great things that have happened. I mean, number one, Alex and I just had such fantastic moments traveling this year. And it was so funny because the other night on here I was talking and I couldn't remember, like, the other trip that we took. And then I was like, oh, Las Vegas for our anniversary. I mean, Las Vegas for our anniversary was hands down probably the best trip that we took this year. It was so much fun. You know, I got to, like, I was talking to somebody about this last night, and I said, you know, they were like, how many YouTubers have you met? And I said, I've only really met one YouTuber, Shane Dawson. And they're like, Shane Dawson is the first and only YouTuber. I'm like, yeah, I mean, like, you could do worse, you know what I mean? Like, that was so much fun for me. It was so exciting. And, I mean, it was such a super fan moment. And Alex got to meet Cascade, you know, the DJ. It's his favorite DJ. It's one of my favorite DJs too, but, he got to meet Cascade, and we got to spend time with Maya, and then we went to Punta Cana, and even though the beach sucked, we still had a great time, and, you know, it was really connected. And then Ultra last year was so fun, you know, and it just was like, and we went to Connecticut for that little 4-day weekend. That was so much fun. And, you know, I was talking about this one here the other night, like meeting Mel, my book club assistant, vice president, now president, has been fantastic, you know. I've lost some friends this year, but at the same time, at the tail end, or at the end of the year, I've made some really, really good friends, you know, like, and, I've made some just really diehard friends that I talk to on a daily basis that, you know, I also kind of got back to finding myself a little bit. And, you know, I think taking some time to myself and focusing on the need for serenity and peace on a daily basis was just vital to my life. And I realize now, having gone through some shit that I went through, that had I not gone through that, you know, like, I don't know that I would have ever got to a point where I was really, like, refocusing myself in the morning with, like, peace and serenity, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, really utilizing my sponsor and, like, to the fullest, the way that I need to, and really inventorying the things that are going on in my life. And, you know, all of that has been so powerful to me. And so I think, like, that's a good example of how we go through things, and then we realize later how it's preparing us for the good that we deserve. And I really do believe that. I really do believe in, like, manifesting your destiny, you know, and what is it that you want? What is it that you want your life to look like? And what is it you feel like you deserve? Because I do believe that very much we are, you know, we're not very good at being our own cheerleaders, you know? I think, like, often we beat ourselves up more than anybody else does and put ourselves down, you know? And we're the ones that tell ourselves we don't believe that we deserve good things. Well, if you tell yourself you don't believe that you deserve good things, you're not going to have good things. That's just the reality, you know? That... Did I say that right? If you tell yourself you don't believe that you deserve good things, you're not going to get good things. That's what I meant to say. I mean, just, you're not, you know? And, I mean, we really have to believe in ourselves. We really have to change that tape in our heads, you know, to tell ourselves, like, yes, I deserve good things. I'm worthy of good in the world. I am worthy of having good relationships with people. I'm worthy of having good relationships with my family members. You know, I deserve to have good relationships with my family members and my friends, and lack of conflict and chaos in my life. But at the same time, like, you really, I think, have to value the lack of chaos in your life, and you have to value peace and serenity. And I think that's one of the things that really happened to me this year, was my value of my personal peace of mind and serenity became paramount over everything else. to where, like, that was what I was striving for. You know what I mean? Laughter has become very important to me in 2018 as well, you know? The power of laughter, the power of, you know, I always knew what it held, you know, driving around in a car with my best friend and laughing and telling stories and things like that. But at the same time, I don't think, realize just how vital it was to my life and how much of a life force laughter was. Because I really think we take ourselves way too seriously. We take the rest of the world around us way too seriously, you know? And I do think that there are moments that need to be serious. I do. You know, and I think that there are moments that maybe we need to step back a little bit and learn to laugh at ourselves a little bit. You know, we're funny people that make mistakes, and we're not perfect. I also think that, like, going into 2019, like, one of the things that, like, I've gotten to a better place with is unapologetically being myself. And, but at the same time, you know, learning from all the things I've inventoried in my life about myself to the point of where you don't have to do that and necessarily be hurtful. You know what I mean? And I'm able to set boundaries and limits with people in my life today. My life is good today. You know, like, it really, really is. And I feel more confident than I did when I started this year. I feel definitely more peace in my heart and in my mind. I feel so peaceful and content on a daily basis. There's a stillness within me that I didn't have before, and it's a stillness that I haven't had in years, like literally in years, you know, that I have found that I cherish. And I think that one of the things I need to share on here that's interesting is that, like, one of the things that Tanya and I have noticed recently is that there are moments where we just nonstop talk, you know, and storytell in the car and stuff like that. But I would say in the last 2 months, there have been moments where we're just driving and it's silence like this, you know? And there's something to be said about that silence between two friends, two family members, you know, two loved ones, just sitting there in silence and kind of just sharing that common space and being comfortable enough to not feel like you have to talk. And it's interesting because we're both such talkers, you know, but we've noticed that. And it's like, this has been a year for both of us where there's been a ridding of a lot of toxicity and chaos and just, you know, it's been hard because Tanya and I had several friends that went back out. But when we looked back on that, like, there was just a lot of energy, you know, within that group. And it's been sad, you know, it's been really hard. And, you know, one of the pacts that we made the other night was like, going forward, we're gonna, you know, look forward and not look back as much anymore. Because you can only tell the same story so many times before they get boring to yourself, you know what I mean? And, I don't know. I think the most profound thing that happened to me this year, and I've told this on here, and I actually did a video on my Peterson's channel, was at my uncle's funeral when my dad spoke, and I probably will cry telling this story. But I think this was if I had to pick one moment out of the year where I learned the most about what life is about, was this moment. And it was when my dad was because my cousin asked my dad to give a eulogy. And I feel like the steering wheel is like right in front of my face. So my dad got up and, you know, and it's kind of hard to understand the story without understanding my dad and how, like, you know, his humor is very sarcastic and dry, but at the same time, like, he is just a fantastic storyteller. And there's always a lesson. And, you know, like, I think I get a lot of my enjoyment of storytelling from my dad, actually. And he was talking about how, like, you know, he had taken this, you know, my uncle was like a scotch drinker. And so my uncle was not a heavy drinker at all. But my dad got this very expensive bottle of scotch. And because Caroline had called my dad and said, you know, I don't know how much longer my dad has, so you should probably come over and visit. And my dad had been friends with my Uncle Dave's, you know, since they were in their early 20s, 50 years, you know, 50 some years. And my dad proposed to my mom, or they announced their engagement, I guess, at my aunt and uncle's rehearsal, or at my aunt and uncle's reception. And my aunt and uncle, like, even though my parents were divorced, my aunt and uncle loved my dad so much. So my dad got up and he told this story, and he said, you know, and I think a lot of people were worried because my dad's humor, like I said, is cynical and sarcastic. I think a lot of people were like, okay, what's he going to do with this? You know what I mean? My dad shared about how he went over to Caroline's house because Dave was living there at that point, and that he brought this bottle of scotch, and so they sat there and they talked, and, you know, kind of just, you know, talked about the years and all that kind of stuff. And my uncle was not a super emotional person, and my dad is very affectionate, and he did cry while he was talking about this. He can kind of like hold in his emotions, but my dad is very like appropriate with his emotions. He like has no, as being as big and masculine as my dad is, he has like no problems crying in public and stuff like that. But it's not like me, like where it's just like floodgates, you know? And so at the end, he stood up and he said, you know, I have this bottle of scotch that I brought in. It's sitting in the kitchen. And he said, let me go get it, and we can pour each other a glass. You know, we can each have a glass, and, you know, kind of cheers to all the good times or whatever. I don't know, my dad said, but anyway. And my uncle said, oh, no, it's, you know, I don't drink until like 5 or something, he said. I can't remember. And my dad goes, are you like keeping a time schedule here? Is there somewhere that you're going, you know, Dave? And he's like, no. And he was like, but you take it and you take it home with you because I won't drink it anyway. And my dad was like, no, I got it for you. I really want you to enjoy it. You know, it's a great scotch, blah, 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 whatever. My aunt was a scotch drinker too. And so my uncle said to my dad, no, you know, through years of Kathy throwing parties and all this kind of stuff, and the way that she liked to spend money and that she liked to drink good scotch, I realized that if I was ever going to be a scotch drinker, I had to drink cheap scotch. I don't like expensive scotch, so you take it with you. But they were kind of laughing, you know. So he goes, okay, I'll take it with me. And my dad got up and he said, you know, Dave wasn't a hugger, so I just went over to kind of shake his hand, and he looked up at me and he said, my uncle looked up at my dad and he said, we're never going to see each other again, are we? And my dad said, no, Dave, I don't think that we are. So when people ask me like how I get through tough times, and people ask me, how do you deal with this, or how do you deal with that on the internet, and how do you know? Because that is what life is about. Right there, that moment, that is what is important. The rest of it is just junk. It's that connection, that friendship, that moment that you have the opportunity to look at somebody and say goodbye. And quite frankly, I've had several of those moments in my life, and I feel so honored. I feel so honored to have been part of people's endings, you know? One of the greatest privileges of my entire life was being part of my mother's passing. And I think in that moment what I realized was that maybe I had this skewed idea of what the world was really supposed to be about and what was really important in the world. And I think it was my higher power just in that moment of sitting there in that funeral home listening, you know, that it was my higher power just like brick wall in front of my face, wake up right now, this is what is important, you know? But I didn't get it at that moment. I mean, I heard it, I listened to it, like it resonated with me, but I didn't get it. Like the lesson was there, the seed was planted, but it took some time, you know? It took me getting back to, you know, doing peaceful meditation and serenity in the morning and really taking a look at that and really realizing that the things that are really important to me are my husband and my friends, Tanya and Melissa, and my other close friends. Oh, it stopped. But Tanya and Melissa, you know, my other close friends in sobriety, and Valerie and Mel, and yeah, Valerie, it's another, you know, I can't even imagine a day going by without talking to Valerie. And, you know, she's a friend that I made as a result of my vlog that I now like have in my real life, you know, that I think I'll probably, well, she'll be in my life for the rest of my life, you know. I think sometimes it takes things like that for us to really put in perspective the things that are really, really important. And as sad as I am about my uncle's passing, at the same time, what I realize is what beauty to be able to share 50, almost 60 years of your life with somebody, you know? When we talk about life, you know, people coming into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, that's a lifetime friendship. There's not many of us that are going to be able to say that we've had friendships for 50 or 60 years. And my dad and my uncle were able to say that. And when I look at my friendship with Tanya, you know, I feel very similar to that. So I guess the greatest lesson that I learned in 2019 is it's important where I put my priorities, you know, in my peace of mind and, you know, laughing with my husband and crying with my best friend and taking risks and trying new things. That was a huge part of me in 2018 in a way that, you know, like I don't really talk much about on here, but like my social anxiety just really used to be something I talked about on here all the time. And now I just go to things, you know, I don't even question it anymore. I go to everything I'm supposed to go to now, you know, most, but you know, just my dogs, you know. This was a really hard year as far as like PP because, and I didn't really talk much about it on here. I mentioned it, but like, you know, that dog is my, I mean, I love Boo and Tucker so much, but PP is my best friend. I mean, he just really is like my little dude. He runs the show. They follow him around. You know, Boo and Tucker are my babies. PP is my best friend. And every holiday that happened this year, I was like, is this going to be our last Halloween? Is this going to be our last Christmas? Is this going to be our last New Year's that we are together, you know? And it's hard, you know? It's really, really hard. And, but at the same time, what it's done is, it's the flip side of that is that it's made me really grateful for, the days that I have had with him, you know? I mean, I remember when he got diagnosed with heart disease and I came home and Alex was like, do we need to start making some decisions? And that was like over a year ago, you know? So I feel very blessed every day that I wake up that I have that little guy and Boo and Tucker in my lives, you know? Just, I mean, Boo is hilarious, and just every morning that I wake up and he just sticks his head up, he's got bedhead and his hair's all over the place, and, you know, Tucker's ear is flying, and, you know, I just love my little life. I really, really love my little life so much. And, 2018 has been a reminder to me that it's very much like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. Everything that I ever needed was in my own backyard, you know? And it's been a good year. It's been a really, really good year. And in unexpected ways. Like, that's what's crazy, you know? Like, it's been good because I've been able to evaluate and process the things that have happened, and I've been able to enjoy these moments of glory of travel and, you know, just spending time with my friends and laughing. And, you know, I mean, just recently going to like Marshmallow and Chainsmokers with Melissa and Jason, we had such a blast doing that, you know? Like, I'm really excited because tomorrow night we're going out to dinner, you know, and then we're going to this party with them. And Melissa's like been planning her Studio 54 party or outfit and all this kind of stuff, and you know, it's just like I'm really super excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun, you know, and we're going to see all of our friends, and like I'm excited about that today in a way that I wasn't excited about that 2 years ago when I started on YouTube. I can't even begin to tell you in what ways I am grateful for YouTube and for you guys this year. And when I say I'm grateful for YouTube, I really mean you guys. Like, I know that sounds like, you probably are like, well, that sounds kind of crazy, but like the reality is, without somebody watching my videos, to me, my perception of YouTube does not exist. Because if nobody's watching my videos, like, you know, but there's been so many of you that have consistently watched my videos on a daily basis, that have continued to comment. There have been a lot of you this year too that I love, that send me little messages and they say, I don't ever comment on your videos, or I don't feel comfortable commenting on your videos, but I just want you to know there's not a day that goes by that I don't watch you. And, you know, like, you mean so much to me. My kids, my husband, my boyfriend, whoever, like, they know your name, or my boyfriend and I watch your vlogs together every night. You know, like, all of that stuff just means so much to me. And I'm so thankful for it, you know? And it just is like the coolest interaction that I never expected. And to think now that I have vlogged every day for 2 years is crazy to me. Like, absolutely crazy. I do need somebody to explain to me this, and this is totally on a side note though. I do not believe this year that I got off my dates at one wrong, right? Because this exact same thing happened last year. But I went and looked, and if I look, right, I think tomorrow is like the 362nd or 363rd, like this vlog will be. And what I don't understand about that is, how is it not the 365th day of like vlogging? Like, it should be. And last year it was off too. So unless there was a day that I didn't change the number, which, like, that's always the first thing that I do when I go in there, is like change the number. Unless I didn't do that, I don't understand how it's not the 365th day, except for that would be the day that I would post on the 1st of January, right? Which ends up being the first vlog of the year. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, my New Year's Eve vlog ends up being my first vlog of 2019. So maybe that's how I lose it, but I don't know. But then shouldn't that put me ahead, really? No, I guess not. I don't know. I'm so confused by it, but I don't know. 2018 has definitely been a year of growth for me. Like, it's just been a really good year as far as learning experiences and growth and evaluation and inventory. And I really believe that 2019 is going to be my year to practice the lessons that I learned. I think that's what it's going to be about. And I think that we continue to be offered lessons in life and learn, and I'm okay with that, you know? I think a lot of really great things are going to happen in 2019. I have some very strange feelings about my YouTube channels in 2019. I have no idea why. I actually have some really strong feelings that some really great things are going to happen with my YouTube channels. I'm totally open to that. So, but kind of like an unexpected direction is what I see happening. Especially kind of with my Peter Monn channel, that I take that channel in a completely different direction, and I'm not really sure why. I mean, I've thought about it and I've started doing some different things on there, but it hasn't, that really hasn't been my plan to do anything different on there. I still love doing the drama and stuff. And I see some travel opportunities for us in 2019 that we have no idea yet, that aren't even, that, like, good travel opportunities. That I have, like, some gut kind of feelings about that I think is going to happen. So, yeah. I also have I've had this feeling for, like, the last 2 weeks that somebody really close to me is going to have a child, and it's, like, that somebody that's going to be, like, it's going to be a really, like, important part of my life. Like, it's like my sister-in-law, they don't want any more kids, but, like, I thought at first maybe it was her, and then I thought, well, maybe it's, you know, Fufu and his girlfriend, but they don't want kids right now. And so I'm like, well, I don't know who it could be. You know, I have a couple friends of mine that are that age. I feel like it's like a friend of Alex's or something, though. Like, that's what I feel like. I feel like it's one of his close friends that wouldn't expect to get pregnant. But anyway, so I don't know. We'll see. But I have a feeling that a lot of really, really good things are coming in 2019. I have a feeling that 2019 is going to be a great year. This is what I really, to be honest, feel like. I feel like maybe like January won't be the greatest month in the entire year. And then I feel like the middle of February going into March, it's going to like swing up like really big for me. And that the rest of the year will just build on that. I really feel like that's what 2019 is going to be like for me. So I don't know what that means. I also see us like having like a really, really horrible winter here in Indiana, and I'm not really sure when this is going to hit because we haven't had any snow and it's really not that bad whatsoever. But so yeah, those are some of my just like gut feelings. I just really have good feelings about 2019. Do you guys have good feelings about 2019? I hope so. I hope you guys have fantastic years coming ahead. Have you made your goal list for 2019? If you haven't and you're watching this, sit down and make some goals that you want to accomplish in 2019. Or do your resolutions if that's what you like to do. I like to do goals, but do your resolutions if that's what you like to do. And, you know, get excited about it. You know, get excited about going into the new year and what you're going to do and all that kind of stuff. So it's crazy to me because like, it's right now, as I'm filming this, it's like New Year's Day in some parts of the world, right? That are like 24 hours ahead of me. Annie, Australia, are you 24 hours ahead of me? I think there are places that are 24 hours ahead of me. There has to be, right? So, I mean, that was the stupidest question in the entire world, Peter. So yeah, so there's places like right now that just like turn New Year's Day. That's so crazy to me. So anyway, well, I just want to thank you guys for 2018. I want to thank you guys for, you know, sticking around and riding the ride with me and listening to all of my crazy late night stories in the car. A lot of people have asked me to do a podcast. It's something that I'm very, very seriously thinking about. If I do it, it will not just be a spur of the moment kind of thing. It will be something that I really put a lot of like heart and soul into. I'm really, really deeply thinking about doing it. I've been talking to some people that I really highly respect that have podcasts, good podcasts, and asking them for some advice. So I don't know, that may be coming in 2019. If it does, I will tell you it will be late spring when it probably happens. I'm not going to do it before we go to Miami and Mexico. But that is something that I'm excited about possibly starting. And yeah, so I wasn't even sure I was going to announce it because, you know, if it doesn't happen, I don't want people to like get excited about it and then it not happen. But I think that's probably something that I'm going to do in 2019. And I don't believe that I'm going to do it specifically with Alex or specifically with Tanya or anybody like that. I think what I'm going to do is every week I'm going to have a co-host guest. So one week it'll be Tanya, one week and it'll be floating. So, you know, one week it could be somebody random. One week it could be, you know, Melissa, and it could be Melissa 3 weeks in a row. So, and that's kind of what I'm going to do. We're going to take call-ins and things like that. I'm really excited about it. Yeah, and so I have some surprises for what I'm thinking about doing, but that's kind of a back burner idea right now. I'm just kind of letting that sit until I figure out what I really, really want to do with that. So anyway, But 2019 is going to be a really good year. I can feel it. I'm very, very excited about it. I just want to say thank you for the past year. I appreciate it. I appreciate all your love and support. You have no idea how much it means to me. Honest to God, you have no idea how sometimes, you know, in dark, quiet moments, I didn't, you know, I'd read a comment or you guys would send me a message and I'd be like, these people are fantastic, you know, in all honesty, they like hearts of gold. So thank you, and I just enjoy every minute of this. I don't plan on going anywhere, and I can plan on continuing to vlog for years and years and years on end, I hope. And I hope next year at this time, I'm sitting here saying goodbye to 2019 and hello to 2020. So I love you guys. I hope you're having a fantastic New Year's Eve, and I will see you in the new year. Bye.